Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be making a delicious spicy ramen noodle dish with a rich nutrient-dense broth that's very easy to make. Let's get started. We're going to start by chopping a very large onion, then we're going to use half now and save half for later. You don't have to be precise, just give it a rough chop. Next, we're going to chop the bulbs of about 5 green onions. Save the green parts for later. For some spiciness and freshness, we'll be adding some fresh ginger, but instead of chopping it, we'll be grating it. Make sure you give it a really good wash before grating it, because we'll be grating it with the skin on. Grate your ginger using a microplane. You want to grate about 2 tablespoons. Set your grated ginger aside and let's head to the stove. To a large pot set to medium heat, you want to add 1/8 cup of oil. I'm using avocado oil. Once your pot is hot, add 1/2 of your chopped onion and give it a good stir. Next, we're going to add the white parts of our green onions, followed by our freshly grated ginger. Turn your heat down to low heat, give them a really good stir, and let them sweat for about 3 to 5 minutes. Keep an eye on them, but while they're sweating, we're going to make our ramen broth base. For the broth base, we're going to be using 2 massive red bell peppers. If you only have smaller ones, use 3 or 4. We're going to be slicing off the skins of both red bell peppers. Once you're done, place the skins in a baking tray, and without any oil or seasonings, you want to roast them at 450 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. Our peppers are done, so we're just going to let them cool for about 10 to 15 minutes. Once the pepper skins have cooled down, we're going to add everything to a blender cup. Right here, I have about 1.5 cups of cooked chickpeas. If you don't know how to cook chickpeas, please check out my video. Add your cooked chickpeas to the blender cup. Since this is an alkaline recipe, we're going to be adding 3 heaped tablespoons of an alkaline approved tomato paste. Next, add the second half of your chopped onions to the blender cup. Add 1.5 cups of water, then we're going to add our herbs and seasonings. Add 1 tablespoon of dried oregano and 1 tablespoon of dried thyme. Add 2.5 tablespoons of ground fennel seeds. Then for some heat and color, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Now we're going to blend it until smooth. Here's what it looks like. It has a beautiful vibrant orange color. Back to the stove. Our onions and ginger are done sweating, so we're going to add 3 to 4 cups of our soup base to the pot. Give it a really good mix, turn your heat up to medium heat, cover and let it cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. After 15 minutes of cooking, rinse out the blender cup into the pot with about 3 to 4 cups of water. Now we're going to add some sea salt to taste, and since alkaline vegans don't have that many options when it comes to herbs, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of coriander. For its pungent flavor and aroma, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. Finally, to add a hint of sweetness to this dish, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of agave syrup. Give it a really good mix to combine all of the ingredients. Now we're going to cover it and let it cook and reduce a little bit for about 30 minutes on medium-high heat. After 30 minutes, you should get something like this. For that nice and balanced umami flavor with that dark and rich color, we're going to be slicing and adding 2 cups of baby bella mushrooms. Add 2 cups of baby bella mushrooms, then give it a good mix. Then we're going to add these things right here. If you're not familiar with what these are called kombu and they're a type of seaweed. Add 2 4-inch kombu leaves, then skim the foam off of the surface of the broth. Turn your heat down to a simmer and let it cook for another 15 minutes. For some variety in the ramen bowl, we're going to batter and fry some mushrooms. These mushrooms are called enoki, and they always come with some mycelium attached to their base. Without cutting off the part that binds the mushrooms together, carefully trim off the mycelium. We are not eating this. Next, I'm going to separate this entire bundle into 4 separate smaller bundles. You could go larger or smaller, it's up to you. There are several different ways of cooking enoki mushrooms. This is just one of them. Now that we're done, let's work in our dredging station. Over here, I have about 1.5 cups of white kamut flour. I'm going to add my white kamut flour to a bowl, then I'm going to add some herbs and spices. Add whatever herbs and spices work for you, then give it a good mix. Next, we're going to split the flour into 2 equal parts in 2 separate bowls. Into one bowl, in this case my black bowl, I'm going to be adding 1 cup of walnut milk. Make all necessary adjustments, then whisk it all together to combine. Grab and coat 1 bunch of mushrooms thoroughly in your dry batter. Shake off excess flour, then thoroughly coat it in your wet batter. Now shake off excess wet batter, then head back to your dry batter and coat it thoroughly. You want to do this on the side so you don't end up totally wet in your dry batter. Set it aside and repeat the process. We're going to cook these, but before we do, let's check on our broth. As you can see, our dried kombu has been rejuvenated and it's released most of its flavor into the broth. You can take it out now. The broth is ready. I'm going to take it off the stove. Let's fry our mushrooms. Place a pan on medium heat, then add about 1 or more cups of avocado oil. Once your oil is hot, carefully lower your mushrooms into the pan. You want to cook this nice and slow. If you can, maintain your oil temperature at about 350 degrees Fahrenheit and cook for about 8 to 10 minutes per side. Go ahead and check them, and if you're satisfied, flip them over. If your mushrooms are as thick as mine and your oil is shallow, go ahead and fry the sides as well. Once they're done frying, lift them off the pan, shake off excess oil, inspect them, then place them on a tray lined with some paper towel. Beautiful. I could sink my fangs into this right now. Hold it together, Manny. We're almost there. For our noodles, this time around I'm going with some manufactured white spelt noodles. These were really hard to come by because they were out of stock almost all over the country. I'll see if I can drop a link below for those who are interested. Cook according to package instructions. Once your noodles are done, serve your broth in a bowl. To our beautiful steaming broth, you want to add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of coconut aminos. Next, you want to thoroughly drain your noodles, then add them to the broth. Once your noodles have been added to the broth, gently fold them several times to thoroughly coat them in the broth. We're not done yet. Add some fried enoki mushrooms. Remember our onions? We're going to slice the green parts and use them as garnish. Also garnish with some black sesame seeds. These are roasted nori sheets. They're seaweed and they have a delicious fishy taste. Place them on the side of your bowl. If you haven't been living under a rock, you remember my chili oil from about 2 weeks ago. It was very easy to make, and if you remember, we packed in as much flavor as we could. Drizzle some chili oil and some spice over your noodles. Finally, here's a sample of our crispy fried shallots from last week. If you don't know what I'm talking about, or if you haven't seen that video, consider yourself ostracized from this community. Add some crispy shallots. Itadakimasu! Even though these noodles were manufactured, they're the real deal. They have the proper wavy shapes to help them hold on to the broth. If you don't overcook them, they won't be soggy. As for the mushrooms, they're very delicious and, as you can see, very beautiful. They're still a little chewy and still have a bite to them, so if you want to, you can cut them into smaller pieces. That's what it looks like on the inside. You can still see the stems of the mushrooms. This entire dish is comforting, delicious, and your family will thank you for making it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Tune in next week for another awesome recipe.